Hello and welcome to the Online Football Academy's second episode of TOFA Talks. This week we'll be discussing England's next golden generation, which is approximately 2025, 5 years from now, with our starting 11, 7 subs and 5 or 6 notable absentees who have the potential to be in that squad. In episode 1, we gave you the opportunity to vote on our all-time Premier League 11, 2 different squads on the Online Football Academy's Instagram page. The first 11 won with a unanimous vote of 85%. Absolutely huge. If you aren't following us on social media, check the links in the description below and follow us for more football content. This is my England team, which is the starting 11, the bench, and the absentees. The average age of the starting 11 themselves is actually 26, which is a very, very young squad, if I say the least. So in goalkeeper, we have Dean Henderson. Right back, we have Trent Alexander-Arnold. Centre backs will have Joe Gomez and Mason Holgate. Left back will have Saka from Arsenal. Defensive midfield will have Declan Rice. The other two other centre midfielders is Phil Foden and James Maddison. Right wing we have Jadon Sancho. Left wing we have Marcus Rashford, and at the top striker we have Mason Greenwood. On the bench we have an old, but I think he's very, very good goalkeeper. Didn't have enough chances. But Nick Pope is 33 by 2025. Then we have Tomori from Chelsea, Brandon Williams, Man United, Curtis Jones, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Tammy Abraham. And 5 of the absentees that I could have put in there, could have swapped about, was probably Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's a Man United player. I don't really rate him, but he's there. We have Jack Grealish, who left out, and he could have well been in there. Harvey Elliott, a very, very young talent. Jude Bellingham, who's another really young talent, possibly going to Borussia Dortmund. And then we'll have Nketiah. I don't really know how to say his name, but he's from Arsenal and he's a striker. And he is quite a young talent as well. I've no idea how to say his name, so don't laugh at me for saying it.
Nketiah, is it?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Nketiah.
Okay, Lee, what's your squad?
So average age of my squad is 27, so we were older than yours, Luke. So coming into their prime. Goalkeeper, I went for Nick Pope. I know he'd be a wee bit old by then, but I thought the experience he might be getting coming up, maybe moving clubs potentially, put him in there. Right back, same as yourself, got Trent. Right back, 2 centre backs are Joe Gomez and Kyle Tomori. Then I've got Ben Chilwell at left back. Then centre midfield, I have Declan Rice, James Maddison, and Phil Foden in attacking roles in midfield. Then right wing, I have Raheem Sterling. No, he'll be a wee bit older by then as well. Then left wing, I've got Marcus Rashford, and up top, I've got Mason Greenwood as well. The bench then, I've got Harry Kane on the bench, Jadon Sancho, Lewis Cook, Mason Mount, Ben White from Leeds, centre back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Dean Henderson. And I've got about seven players here that mention that maybe could get in the squad by that time. Tammy Abraham, Brandon Williams, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tom Davies, Joe Willock, Mason Holgate, and Todd Campbell. So that's my team. I'm pretty happy with that team. I think it'd probably do quite well in the World Cup if they were all to go.
So my England team for 2025, of an average age of 27, I have went for Dean Henderson in nets. I went with Trent at right back, Joe Gomez and Mason Holgate as my 2 centre backs, and at left back I have Ben Chilwell. My holding midfielder will be Declan Rice, or would be Declan Rice if I was England manager. James Maddison and Mason Mount just in front of him. On the right hand side I've went with Raheem Sterling. On the left I went with Mason Greenwood, and up front I went with Marcus Rashford. But I know that they can all intertwine and play in a front 3 in all different positions within that front 3. Subs, I've stuck with Jordan Pickford, because I would say that as much as he needs to wind his neck in, I think in 5 years' time he will have done that and matured and become an excellent goalkeeper. I just don't think he'll be as good as Dean Henderson. I have Reece James on the bench, Wan-Bissaka, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Jadon Sancho, and Tammy Abraham. Now, I have 8 players who I think have potential to make this team. I don't think they're anything special at the moment, but I have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that might be because I'm an Everton fan, and I think he's a bit of a championship striker quality. But I think, under Ancelotti in the next 5 years, I think he could become a very good striker. I've went with Callum Hudson-Odoi as well, Brandon Williams, Lewis Cook, Loftus-Cheek, Adam Ola-Lookman, who I think disappeared off the face of the earth when he left Everton. But last one, and maybe a little bit controversial, Will Hughes, I think, could potentially have an England cap in the next 5 years or afterwards. So controversial, but I think he will just miss out in the next few years.
He'll not be 30 by then. What is he, 25 now?
Raheem Sterling's 25 now, and
Oh, he's made it.
But I still think as a midfielder, you have to have depth in midfield, and I think he can, be the backup for Declan Rice potentially. Because if you look at Maddison, Mount, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, they're all attacking midfielders, and there's nobody that really sits there and can sit in front of the back four and play football a little bit. You've got Declan Rice doing it at West Ham at the moment. Other than that, who else can do that?
Lewis Cook as well.
Yeah, Lewis. Well, I have him down as a potential there as well. With Will Hughes.
I absolutely disagree with probably 7 of your squad. And to be honest, well, Calvert-Lewin for a start, I think he's an absolute balloon. For Everton, but you said he is a championship striker. Will Hughes is another balloon who is not going to make it in the Premier League. Never mind make it for England. Who else did you name? Pickford passed it. He's had a chance. He's had a chance in the Premier League. He's passed it. Another balloon plays for Everton. You've named plenty of balloons. And for Lee, I think Holgate over Tomori. The reason for that is because this season, for example, Holgate's played, I think, about 25 games for Everton at centre half, and he's played against everyone. He's played against the best 3 in the Premier League. Whereas Tomori's sort of in and out of the side, and he's not a regular starter. So that's why I picked Holgate in front of Tomori. I struggle with it, but there's plenty that you've both named who I would never on this face of this earth pick to play for England.
I think I forgot. Did I say Anthony Gordon as well?
I'm surprised you didn't, to be fair.
I think Anthony Gordon, can be top-notch attacking midfielder as well. I believe so, definitely.
See, you also said I'm not sure if both of you said it, but Tom Davies, I don't think he has it either.
No, I never said. Look, Lee said that. Especially
I said Tom Davies.
After this season, no way.
Yeah, not.
Well, the only reason I put Tom Davies in is because he's still quite young, I suppose. He's going to have a lot of competition in midfield. I maybe thought he'd sort of come back in the midfield a wee bit, that maybe holding position, because he's not getting ahead of Foden, Maddison, Campbell. He'll not get ahead of them. Even Todd Campbell, he's not as good as him right now, I don't think, and he's far younger.
Todd Campbell's playing an awful Norwich team.
Yeah. Well, the reason I did, just to go back there, the reason I didn't put Holgate in is because if you check the Premier League table right now, as it stands, Everton are 11th, and Chelsea are 3rd. So that's why I put Tomori in.
Again, Chelsea have a better squad.
No difference. What does that even mean? Like, how many games has Tomori played in that Chelsea side? Like, Premier League starts, has he played?
I think he's played 15 games.
He's played a good few.
But the thing is, like, if you look at it, Holgate's more likely to make it because he's getting first team most weeks. Tomori, yes, he's got England caps and Holgate hasn't. Holgate's only got 21 caps, but under 21 caps, sorry. But I think he need to be playing regular first team football. And at Chelsea, he's not necessarily getting that. He's not guaranteed to play every week. Another one, Chris. You didn't name Foden in 11, and I can't see that. I think Foden, wow, for his age and to be able to get into that City setup is unbelievable. I genuinely don't know how he's not in your first 11. You did mention him, did you? But
I put him on the bench.
He's on the bench. Goodness me, must be.
I'd have him starting. Definitely, I do have him starting on my team.
100%, definitely has.
Well, I don't know. It's one of those things where it depends if, because I have Mason Mount in there, if Mason Mount gets the opportunity to play every year, in that Chelsea side now that they don't have that transfer ban. I think he can go from strength to strength under Frank Lampard. With Phil Foden, can he fill that space that David Silva is leaving? Can he fill that? It's a massive question. And do England play the same way as Man City? No. I don't think they do. I think England are very much just get the ball and attack, while City's like, let's just sort of keep possession of the ball, play through the spaces, play through the lines, get into the final third, get into the 18-yard box. Let's like spread it across the 18-yard box and see if someone gets a tap in. I don't think England play like that. I think England's full force, abrupt attack when we get the opportunity to. And I think if you have a front five of Rashford, Sterling, Greenwood, and then Maddison and Mount in behind, I think you could do that non-stop.
I think Foden could definitely get in that starting team as well. Like England don't play the way they do now. You know, in 5 years' time, they could play completely different because they usually play five at the back at the minute. So I don't think they'll do that going forward. I think they'll go back to the 4-3-3 that I have down here. But I think Foden could do it in any team. I think, especially he's only 19 now, and he's doing it. I know it's a big void to fill at City with David Silva going, but I think he could, like him and Maddison, linking up together in midfield. I mean, you've got two players there that probably created, you know, a lot of good chances for their teammates this season. I know Maddison's right up there, you know, at the top this season for Leicester. You know, just them two pulling the strings and then them front three, as you said there, Chris, going through. I mean, that would be a pretty decent forward five, I think. But again, where does Mount fit in? Do you think he's a centre midfielder, or do you think he is a winger? But he's played in both. He's played in both positions, hasn't he?
I think he's sort of in the central role somewhere. I don't think he's out in the right.
Yeah.
But the other thing is this summer coming up. Will he still have an opportunity at Chelsea? Like Chelsea, I don't know. Obviously they've signed Werner, it's fine, but they're also linked with what do you call him from Leverkusen, Havertz, you know, that sort of way. And Chelsea are both banned. So will Chelsea use money, bring stuff in, and then what happens to Mount? Even Tammy Abraham, like we've all mentioned Tammy Abraham, but will he get his opportunity playing at Chelsea with Werner? I don't know.
I think he'll take a back seat, so he will.
Yeah, I'll probably be on the bench most games, especially if Giroud decides to leave.
Yeah.
He's not getting the first team football again. I mean, they're obviously going to put Werner, they're going to start Werner 100% because it just went out and spent all the money on him. So they sort of have to play him. So they do.
Just an interesting. Will all these young England generational talent actually make their full potential because of money nowadays? Probably not.
See, could we agree on one England side with all the names that we've made, or we put forward? Do you think you could agree upon one England team?
Yeah, I think we could. Yeah, because we've got very similar players in there. So I think we could. Yeah, we'll go for it.
We'll go for it and see, and then we'll have your number two in each position, because that'll be interesting. Because I would like to hear again, because obviously I named my team and Luke decided to absolutely abuse my decisions and the players that I picked there. So I didn't really get a chance to defend myself before Luke just absolutely abruptly caved in on me about my choices there.
Sometimes the truth has to be said, and I mean, like half the players you picked are wow.
When you name Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like something has to be said.
Absolutely, 100%. Championship he said, and championship striker he is. GOAT.
Listen,
the greatest of all time. I mean, tube.
Listen, give that boy 5 years and he will be world class. Let me tell you that here now. World class.
I've got that. I've heard that. Don't believe it, but I've heard it.
Okay, so let's agree upon your goalkeeper. Who's the number one goalkeeper?
To be honest, well, for me, obviously, I'm going to say Henderson, and then Chris also meant Henderson, and Lee, you put Henderson as your second keeper. So yeah, I think Henderson for me is there's no doubt.
So who would be his number two in an England setup?
Well, I've got Nick Pope down. If Henderson's starting, then I know Nick Pope is going to be 33 by then. So I mean, I still have him around the team because he'll be obviously be older and have that bit more experience. So I'm happy with going Henderson first and then Pope on the bench.
I would also Yeah, I would also say Pope. I said Pope as my second keeper, but if you look at it, Pope's 28, right? A keeper's prime can go right up to their 36, 37, 38, even like a Buffon. I know he's not his prime now, but he's still playing top football. But Pope had an injury and then was put third or fourth choice at Burnley and had no chance. Now he's only getting his opportunity now, and he's just showing how actually class he is. I'm not saying he's world class, but he's certainly talent for England. And at 30, you can certainly still be playing goalkeeper for your national side.
I obviously put Pickford as mine, and he's 26 at the moment, so 31 he would be. Now, he's England goalkeeper at the minute. Will he be England goalkeeper and drop down the pecking order with the decision-making skills that he has? Like, no one's questioning his distribution and the fact that he is a very, very good goalkeeper, but the decision-making and the silly mistakes that have cost Everton, especially the past 2 seasons, are massive. So how will he deal with, Nick Pope and Dean Henderson breathing down his neck? I do not think he can deal with it. So if I'm being honest, as much as I would love to see Pickford continue to be number one when he bucks up his ideas, I do really think that Nick Pope and Dean Henderson will just jump him.
So when we're making this video now, England should be playing in the Euros if they were still on it. Do you think that Pickford would actually now get ahead of them? Pope and Henderson? I don't think he would.
I don't know. I think Henderson has been amazing in that Sheffield United team this year, and Sheffield United have done amazing anyway. Like, the fact that they bounced up and everyone said they were going to be relegated in 20th position this season, but now they're fighting for Europe. He has done amazing in that team. So I think he is definitely bounced above Pickford.
Most definitely. I think the 3 keepers we've named would be, if the Euros was happening this year, that would be the 3 keepers that will be picked. Like, for me, again, like Chris says, Henderson has been the star of the show. For being the youngest out of the 3 of them, he certainly showed the other 2 really how to do nets in the Premier League. But then again, like, he doesn't have much experience on the senior or national side. So in the Euros, would they have given him the full opportunity? I'm not so sure. But maybe this time next year, I think Henderson will be guaranteed number 1 spot.
Yeah, I agree. So Henderson 1 and Nick Pope 2.
Yep.
Right back.
Again, I just think there's no point in talking about this. Yes, you've named Wan-Bissaka. Yes, you've named, I think Reece James is also a name that's been said as well. And loads of other ones playing in the Premier League. But I think, like, Trent is definitely the best by a long, long way. Both like as a squad, in the squad, and also like set pieces, and his deliveries are just phenomenal.
Yeah. I can't really disagree, especially the quality that he has shown in the Premier League, and to be fair, the Champions League, last season and throughout the Champions League stages this season, just that he's able to do it on another level, on a European level, will be able to help him develop and do really well for the England side. So yeah, I think he would be my right back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, whenever this team will come into play 5 years' time, he'll be 26, and he's playing now like he's a 26-year-old. He's playing like he's in his prime almost. So he's going to get better, really. As you said there, Chris's delivery, set pieces as well. Is unreal. So yeah, definitely Trent.
So who would be the number 2 then?
Number 2, I had Wan-Bissaka down. I think he's probably the closest at the moment to Trent. I know he doesn't have that ability, the technical ability that Trent does. But I think he probably is at this stage the closest. I know you've got a lot of players coming up in that position. I mean, I think England are a bit spoiled for choice, in the right back area, especially like Reece James coming through. Aarons from Norwich, he'll definitely get a move. The Premier League have just got relegated, so he'll definitely get a move, I think. So I mean, I think at the moment Wan-Bissaka will get on the bench.
Yeah, I would have to agree, because as much as Reece James is a really good talent, he's not playing week in, week out for Chelsea.
Yeah.
So I think Wan-Bissaka would be my choice as number 2 right back.
Yeah, So do I. But like I said, I just think Arnold's he'll never get pushed out. The way he's playing right now, there's no chance of him getting pushed out unless he's injured. Centre halves.
Well, I went with Joe Gomez and Mason Holgate. I think, look, you went the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think, Lee, you picked Gomez, didn't you?
Yeah, Gomez down. Again, he's doing really well beside Van Dijk there. He'll be 28 whenever this team comes out. So I think he'll be a real leader at the back for England, by that time. I mean, the quality's shown at such a young age now as well. So I think we've all set him. So I think he's definitely getting into the starting 11.
I think also Gomez is the best England centre half right now as well. For me, I think Michael Keane's a tube, Harry Maguire's a tube, John Stones is not on the ball. So I think Gomez for his age, Gomez now is 23, but I think then he can only get better. So he's definitely the best England centre back now, and I presume then in 5 years he will be the same. But definitely Gomez, and then I say Holgate as well.
Yeah, I can't move away from both of them because Holgate's playing in a really bad Everton side. At the moment, we just aren't doing anything with that side, and he has to. It seems like when Everton play, he's constantly defending, and he's the one who's making the blocks and interceptions and the tackles, and he's just always there. So I think, in my opinion, you can't go bad and can't go against them too. Like, definitely not.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I had Tamori down there starting, and then I actually had Ben White from Leeds on the subs. I just put Ben White in there because I think he's only 22 at the minute, and he's playing really well for Leeds. I think in 5 years' time he will be in that England squad. He'll definitely be on and around it. Yeah. I had Holgate there in the mentionables as well. I think I don't mind Holgate going into the starting 11 because I think Tamori, Holgate, you probably toss a coin who gets started, in my opinion. But I think because Carlo Ancelotti, he's such a good manager. He's been at the game for years. Because he picks him, every week. He obviously sees that he is good enough to do the job. So I mean, I'd be happy putting Holgate in.
Can I just say, Leeds. What do you call the man from Leeds?
Ben White. He's only 22, so he is at the minute.
The only problem, so I was looking at some championship ones or who are all known championship clubs, and the only thing is the likes of, I mentioned Jude Bellingham just for example, right, 16 or 17 coming through at Birmingham, big move to Dortmund, but yes, they're playing in the championship, but they haven't proved it, I don't think, at the minute in the Premier League. So that's why I've picked a lot of ones ahead of them. For example, like the Holgate, Gomez, and there's others, and like Tamori. I think they've all played in the top English league.
I agree, but I also think Leeds will get promoted this season, and I think next season that young lad will show just how good he is. Because if you look at the way Leeds play, it is very much with the ball at their feet, and that's the way Premier League football's starting to develop into, where centre backs, left backs, right backs all have to be comfortable with the ball, and he's able to do that in a Leeds side. So I think he will be able to show his quality next year when Leeds get promoted. So we'll go Joe Gomez, Mason Holgate as the main centre halves, and then Tamori and Ben White as the secondary centre halves. So who would be your left back?
For me, I know I'm already outnumbered here, but Saka from Arsenal. I know he can play a bit of as a wing back or a winger too, but he is a left back. And he's came onto the Arsenal setup this season, and he's done phenomenal. One stat, he's got the third most assists in the Premier League, after De Bruyne and Alexander Arnold, which is an unbelievable stat, especially for an 18-year-old coming on the scene. So I think this season, yes, it's his first season, but I think he's proved it this season. Whether he can continue that, and if he does continue that, I think he'll be miles better than Chilwell. Chilwell hasn't moved from Leicester. He hasn't moved on to bigger and better things, where Saka has that potential. It's whether he goes through with it.
I'm not disagreeing about Saka 100%. I think he's superb potential. I just think at this moment in time, Ben Chilwell at Leicester City looks better than him. Just overall, attacking wise, defensively. When you watch Leicester, he's the one who's always wanting the ball, really getting really good width, really good delivery, and obviously Chelsea are in for him. if he goes to a bigger club, and it's really hard because there's not many bigger clubs now looking at the Premier League table than Leicester, he could put himself into England history as the best left back, potentially even better than Ashley Cole or Leighton Baines. I think that Ben Chilwell is quality, and he's only 23 at the moment.
Yeah, I was like Ben Chilwell in as well. I know what Saka has done really well. I mean, as you said there, like his assist total is really, really good for only being 18 as well. But same as you, Chris, I just think he's has that bit more quality now, and you say he's only 23, so he's only going to get better. And I mean, if someone was to sign Chilwell, anyone in the Premier League, say they're Chelsea, you'll definitely get in the starting 11. The only teams that you wouldn't probably get in is Liverpool or with Andy Robertson, and Benjamin Mendy. But I think, in terms of looking at the Premier League overall, I think Ben Chilwell would be just below Andy Robertson. I think Robertson has set the tone for left backs this season and in previous seasons, and I think Ben Chilwell is probably the closest to that. So I could definitely see him, being the starting left back for a number of years going forward for England. So I go for Ben Chilwell in the starting 11 there.
Yeah, I definitely will be Chilwell, but just another thing, Saka, Chilwell is playing in a Leicester team who are top four. Saka is playing with an Arsenal team who sometimes haven't a clue what's going on. It can only get better with Arteta at the helm. Bringing sort of the young players through, but he's done a phenomenal job. But again, I can't disagree with you. Chilwell has done very well. So, and he's got the experience at the minute. He's proved it over a longer period of time. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to go with Chilwell.
And then Saka's is number 2. That sounds good. So our holding midfielder I have down as Declan Rice. Thoughts?
I think all three of us picked Declan Rice. I think he is probably the best player in that West Ham setup. And for him only being 21 right now, I think he has such a big potential. If he gets a big move, as in maybe a top 4 club, I think he can live up to the expectations that he's expected. But I think there's not really a lot of competition in that defensive midfield area. So it has to be Declan Rice.
Yep, same here. Again, there's not a lot of competition, as you say there, for the defensive midfield, because you've got Foden, Maddison in the attacking areas. I think, as you said there, look, he needs a big move, to maybe a top 4 club. I think that's where Mark Noble maybe fell down in his career, because he didn't get into that top 4 bracket as a player. So I think that's maybe why a lot of England managers maybe overlooked him a wee bit, because he definitely could have done a really good job in there for England. So yeah, if Declan Rice can sort of secure a big move and then get a starting place in the likes of a Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever, he's definitely getting in that team. But at the minute as well, you get in the team now because there's no one else really there for the competition in that position.
I agree, but now the question is, who would be the backup in that position for England in 5 years' time?
Yeah, well, I went for Lewis Cook on the bench. I think he's probably in that defensive midfield area. The reason I haven't put him alongside, Rice, maybe fighting out a bit more for that position, is because he did have a bad injury, I think, Lewis Cook, last season there. I don't think he's really got over it yet. He's only come back now as well, I think, in the first sort of regular minutes. So I think if he can sort of get a run of game under his belt, again, he might need a big move. I think he'll be the understudy to Declan Rice.
Yeah, again, I totally agree with Lee. I think it's quite sort of the comparison to Trent and Saka. I think there's quite a margin, a gap between them. And I agree with Lee. I think that Lewis Cook needs a big move. Bournemouth potentially could be on the way down this season. So, and it could be a cheap buy for a big club. And I'm sure he can play off that position, no problem. So for me, again, there's only Lewis Cook can be number 2.
No, I agree. Obviously, I've put Will Hughes down as a potential, but that's not going in. To this, no. Okay.
No, I mean,
shocking.
He's not going to look in now. So I think he's 25 now. So I mean, I think he needs to start getting into the side around about now to sort of have a chance of, getting a spot maybe.
I think
I'm not going to disagree with Lewis Cook. I think Lewis Cook's a very, very good player, and I agree with everything you say. I think he deserves a big move to a bigger club, but I still think just keep an eye on Will Hughes.
I think that is probably the most, like, I was not gonna say stupid answer I've heard so far in the whole podcast.
Rip apart today, Chris.
I I genuinely think that Will Hughes came on the scene at Derby County. He was the next, he was the prodigy. He was the next big thing. Big clubs were going to come in for him. A bit like was it Tom Ince? And Will Hughes has not lived up to any expectations. And yeah, I don't think he'll be anywhere near that England squad ever. Never mind the next 5 years. But anyway, you're allowed your opinion, so fair play.
Wait and see. So Declan Rice as our number 1 and Lewis Cook as our number 2. Attacking midfielders, I have James Maddison and Mason Mount.
I'd agree with Maddison. I've got him in my starting 11 as well. At the minute, he's doing really good things for Leicester. You know, he's making that ball sort of tick over, making them play, creating a lot of chances as well. So I think, you know, by the time he'll be 28, by the time that sort of era goes on. So I think at 28 he'll have, you know, his position nailed down, knows what he wants to do with the ball. Because at the minute, I think his decision making isn't really that great. But I think whenever he gets a bit more experience, he'll definitely be a starter. I know at the minute he's on the fringes, sort of starting. Again, really good technically as well. So I mean, there's a lot of competition for like Trent. You know, set piece taking and stuff like that. You know, it's really adding to the, you know, technical ability of the England squad. So he definitely gets in starting 11 for me.
100%. I totally agree with everything Lee said. Just James Maddison. I picked him as well, but James Maddison was playing at Norwich a couple of seasons ago. He was the outstanding player by an absolute country mile. He got his big move to Leicester. Well, big move as it was then from Norwich. And he's only got a lot better. And for me, like he makes that Leicester team tick. I think without him, that sort of Leicester team wouldn't be as good as they are. For his age, I think he's quality, and like Lee says, he's very technically very good. And again, he's a chance to take a set piece and stuff from our Trent as well. So loads and loads of talent. And again, like Lee says, when he's 28, he's in his prime, so he's got loads of potential. And also, Christian named him, or Lee named him, was it Foden? For me, I think Foden is the best out of them all. Like I said, he's 19 or 20 now. What's he going to be in 5 years? Mid-20s, coming into his prime or in his prime. He's getting into that Man City team already, which just shows the amount of talent he has. And Guardiola is one of the best managers in the world, or if not the best manager in the world. And Guardiola sees him as a talent. There must be something there. So I think Maddison for me and Foden, but Foden is definitely the best of that midfield.
You mentioned Mount there, Chris. I think Mount will go on to do really good things for England as well. You know, he can only get better, but again, it depends on what Chelsea do in the transfer market this season, I think.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see actually this time next year, you know, the comparison between the two, because, you know, Pep has sort of said that he's going to take Silva's spot, Phil Foden. So it'd be interesting to see if he actually does, or if City just do a City and go and buy someone, you know, to bring someone in. But I think if he, you know, can get into that David Silva spot along with De Bruyne as well, you know, he can learn so much off De Bruyne too. So I think Foden maybe has the advantage to do better things now than what Mount does now. Just purely because of what teams are in. I mean, if Mount was in the City team and Foden was in the Chelsea team, I think you can maybe, you know, say something different. You can maybe put Mount in there instead. But based on what Foden's doing now and what Mount's doing now, I think Foden would definitely get ahead.
I also think that it helps a lot when Phil Foden is a die-hard Man City fan playing for his boyhood team. I mean, I don't know who Mount supports, but I don't think it's Chelsea somehow.
No, Mount started off really young at Chelsea, didn't he? I don't know who he supports, but he was in there from a good young age.
But you can tell, though, that like Foden, you can tell he's playing for the badge at Man City. So that'll give him an extra oomph to go for that England shirt. And if he's playing out with the best in the world and playing for his boyhood team, playing in the position he wants to play in, there's no doubt that he is going to be in that England setup. And again, Chris, you mentioned Mount. Yeah, I think Mount is quality, but like Lee says, if he doesn't get the opportunities at Chelsea, or if Chelsea spend money this summer, dear knows where he could be.
No, I agree. I really do agree. I think Foden, the environment that he's in at the moment is probably the best environment he could be, or any young English player could be, would be City within the environment of top class manager with top class players that he can learn from. So I can't disagree with both of you. But so James Maddison and Foden would be the number one in the next 5 years of the England central attacking midfielders, with Mason Mount as one of the backup attacking midfielders. Yeah. Now, the second one is probably the one that we'll maybe all agree on is Jack Grealish. Now, I'm going to say Jack Grealish now, but I think if he, again, it's one of those things where if he gets a big move to a big club, does he just become, he's at Villa, he's a big fish in a small pond. Does he jump to a big club and just become a really small fish?
And could be, for example, like Ross Barkley.
Yeah.
Look how badly that's went for him. You know what I mean? Boyhood Everton fan. Could have had the world at his feet. Could have been the captain of Everton for many years. Wanted to move bigger wages, to go to Chelsea, and look at him now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would agree with Chris. Like, Grealish has a talent, but if he gets a big move. But for me, I'm going to name one, and you might, like, I'm a Liverpool fan, obviously, but for me, the potential, and after seeing him play a number of games, like, I think Curtis Jones, again, a bit like Phil Foden, die-hard Liverpool fan, came right through the academy, came up through the system, and he's 19, just got a big deal there, a big 5-year deal at Liverpool, and he's, you know what I mean, he's got loads of potential, and the games he's played, he's made a difference, and he's scored some goals as well. I'm not saying if you played him, he would never get near the setup now, obviously, because he's only coming through. But I'd say if he gets the opportunity at Liverpool with the right management, the right coaching, and the right players around him, I think Curtis Jones has the potential to have the world at his feet as well, playing for the bad at Liverpool and also playing for his national team.
Yeah, I think Curtis Jones is a really good shout. So it is. He's doing really well in the Liverpool team at the minute. You know, I watched the game there yesterday. And he started his first start, I think, in the Premier League, and he done really well. He's getting on the ball a lot more frequently than anyone else was, and you could tell he was trying to pull the strings. So I think he's going to be, again, like a bit more of a playmaker. So I think he'd slot into that role quite well. Just go back to the Grealish point. I think Grealish, he can't go anywhere else at Villa. You know, I think Villa have sort of hit the heights at the minute in terms of what they're going to do, you know, while he's still young. And while he still has the potential. So I think if he does get a big move, it can only benefit him. Whereas I think Barkley maybe moved a bit too early from Everton. But I don't think Grealish has the quality yet. I think it'd be interesting to see what he would be like in a you know, a decent team. But I think Todd Cantwell as well should get a mention because he's done really good things for Norwich this season. So I mean, they just went down. So I would say he's definitely going to get a move somewhere.
Morgan.
Can't see him then in the Championship next season. So I think he'll definitely get a move. So I think he can do really good things in the Premier League. Going forward, I think he's only 20, 21, 22 as well at the minute. So I mean, there's 3 options there to choose from.
So we'll name one each. Look, who's your one?
Curtis Jones.
Lee, who's your one?
At the minute, I go with Todd Cantwell.
Right. See, I don't really know because here's the situation. Curtis, like Lee says, Curtis Jones only got his first Premier League appearance while Grealish has just had a full season in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm Jurgen Klopp and I'm seeing all these young boys, that's brilliant coming through. But see, next year, are you willing to put Curtis Jones ahead of Wijnaldum or Henderson or Fabinho? As Liverpool fans, would you put him ahead of any of them?
I think. I mean, you're comparing.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Hold on a minute. Listen to me. Jack Grealish right now, right, is 24, right?
Right.
Okay. Curtis Jones is 19, right?
Right.
So that's a 5-year gap, okay? So you can only compare them two whenever Curtis Jones, in the next 5 years, Curtis Jones will be 24. You can only compare Curtis Jones when he's 24 as Grealish is being 24. Right now, you can't really compare them. I'm just talking about right potential.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that is Curtis Jones in the next year playing ahead of any of them three?
Well, the straight answer is going to be he's not going to be playing week in, week out. No, okay?
No, so this is my point. He will get a loan move, I think,
Okay.
to a championship club or a bottom half, potentially newly promoted Premier League team. And that's potentially where you can then see if he is as good or better than Grealish, potentially.
You have to remember that this is our personal opinion, right? Okay? And Curtis Jones, okay? Liverpool are a squad, yeah? They're not just an 11. That midfield changes most weeks. You know what I mean? It's not the same three playing every single week. Curtis Jones, because there's Lallana going, Shaqiri's possibly going, and I think
Milner.
you know what I mean. So Curtis Jones will be one of them, and it'll be rotating. Liverpool, you're not guaranteed your starting place every single week. Liverpool, unlike other squads, and I think, like I said again, you can't compare Curtis Jones. He's only started. I'm talking about his potential and what I've seen so far. Grealish, for me, is like you said, he's a big fish in a small pond, but can he make it at the top level? I don't know. Can Curtis Jones make it at the top level? I think so, but he has yet to prove it. But in the next 5 years, Curtis Jones will be a world beater and far better than Jack Grealish. Watch it. Watch this space.
And 5 Premier League titles under his belt as well.
That's it.
Right, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We don't want the bias creeping in here again, lads, just like last week's podcast.
Yeah.
We don't want the bias. We just want normal,
I've always got the cap on.
sophisticated thought processes here. And as
My
much
mind
as
is clear as day, Chris.
I think Curtis Jones is a really good talent. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's a really good talent. I just feel that he needs a loan move to show how good he is, because I don't think if Liverpool had won the league in that match, who was it against where he scored? Was it Villa? I don't think he plays.
I don't know, because I think he would have, because of this 5 sub thing.
I don't know.
I think the 5 sub sort of formula has helped him and a lot of the younger ones at Liverpool, because I don't think he would have got on if there only had been 3 subs, but I think because the manager has that option, he put him on. Now, I don't think he needs a loan move, because, as Luke said, you've got Lallana going, you've got Milner going, you know, Henderson's getting a bit older now, and Curtis Jones is definitely a voice in the younger team. So, I mean, I think Curtis Jones needs to stay around the Liverpool team right now and keep learning off Henderson, because you need someone to take over. So I think, as Luke said, I think he'll be definitely in and around the first team. He'll not be a starter every week, but he'll definitely be there as an option.
Come on!
I will agree with Curtis Jones. I will. I think he's a very talented young player. I really do. I just think he needs a loan move to get more experience. I will also say, since we're on this bias of Liverpool, I think Anthony Gordon has a wee shout as to become a good central attack midfielder for the England side in the next 5 years. But I'll leave that there and say that number 1 central attack midfielder is James Maddison. Number 2, Phil Foden, or the second number 1 is Phil Foden, and then the backups for them positions are Mason Mount and Curtis Jones. Yes?
Definitely.
Right.
You're coming from an Everton bias point of view. Your man, don't even.
Needs a bit more time. He's only played 3 games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he started the past few games. In the last game, he got an assist. First Premier League assist, you know.
Remember, Chris, Liverpool are the best team in England. Everton aren't even close. In fact, Everton are closer to the bottom. So
let's just keep on track here. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Chance of being in. I can't even lace Curtis Jones.
Let's move on.
Right.
Let's move on.
Right wing.
Sterling.
Sancho.
I went for Sterling as well.
Yeah, okay. I can understand Sterling. I was just thinking more of the age, because I know England there now. I've sort of brought in the younger sort of bulk of players, and like Sterling will be, what, 30, 31, something like that. If he's still playing at the top of the game and maybe Man City or another club at world-class level, I think he'll be in there, no problem. Sancho has world-class qualities. I think he's proved some of it for Dortmund. And if he gets an even bigger move to maybe like the likes of, City or something, a big club, he might have an opportunity there. But in 5 years' time, I think Sancho will be in his prime and Sterling mightn't even be on the radar. But that's just my opinion. Also, he's a snake.
I'd agree with that, definitely.
I think we'll go with Sterling 1 and Sancho 2. I think Sancho should not move back to the Premier League. I think he should stay as long as he can at Borussia Dortmund in Europe and learn, that European style of real 1v1 technical play in that German league or in the Champions League. I think if he's able to play at that age now for Borussia Dortmund, I think he should stay. Don't think he should move back to the Premier League. That's my personal opinion.
I would agree with that, Chris. I think Sancho should stay at Dortmund, but I think he should only sort of stay short term. I think he should maybe stay for another 2 years or so until he's maybe hit his 20s. See, everyone we've mentioned here all play in the Premier League, so I think it's hard to compare Sterling and Sancho right now. I think Sterling's obviously better right now. I know he'll be 30, but the reason I picked Sterling ahead of Sancho was because I put a wee bit more experience in there. Sterling being a 30, it remains to be seen what Sancho can actually do. I know he's done really well at Dortmund, especially in the Champions League. But I think if Sancho stays at Dortmund and then maybe gets moved back to the Premier League, it'll be interesting to see, what they're like, comparison-wise. So, but I think Sterling will still be in that team 5 years' time.
Yeah. So we'll go Sterling 1, Sancho 2 for the right-hand side. Left wing, I have Mason Greenwood down, but I know he can play up front. And I know Rashford can play out wide as well. So, in my opinion, I would want Mason Greenwood out wide, personally. And that could be on the right-hand side as well. He could play out the right and cut in with his left foot and stuff. He's very good with both feet. But I think him out wide over Rashford, in my personal opinion. Greenwood out wide left.
Chris, you mentioned both the names. You mentioned Rashford and Greenwood. For me, left wing and striker is both them. But for me, it's the other way around. I think Rashford out on the left-hand side. And my choice was obviously Sancho on the right, and then with Greenwood down the middle. I think Greenwood's shown what he can do at Man United this season. He played 8 games in the league, and he scored 9, something like that, for being, young, 18, is he?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. He's done phenomenal. It remains to be seen, can he do that over a longer period of time, which I believe he can, and I think he'll get into the England setup. But for me, it has to be Rashford on the left-hand side, and Rashford is full of assists, and he can get goals as well. So for me, they can they can turn about, but I think Rashford on the left and Mason Greenwood up top.
Lee?
Yeah, I have the same too, but I went for the same as Luke. I went for Rashford on the left and Greenwood up top. I think Rashford has a bit more pace about him out in the wing. I know he'll be a wee bit older, but I think Greenwood should definitely be a striker, especially coming in, filling the gap with Harry Kane whenever he gets a bit older. I think Greenwood's a bit of a better finisher, and I think we've seen that this season already. As you said there, Chris, right foot, left foot. I think where Rashford lacks is that end product, and you might fix that in 5 years' time. But I think Rashford and Greenwood will play together really well, obviously because they're the same club. But I think Rashford have more of a positive impact on the left than what Greenwood would.
So who's Rashford obviously on the left wing as our number 1? Who is number 2?
Remains to be seen, but for me, he needs to prove himself. He's nearly got a big money move to Germany, and he's still at Chelsea. But Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think he needs to prove himself. I think the next 3 years, and if he doesn't prove himself, he could be anybody. For me, I think he has to be the one on the wing. And he's 19 now, he'll be 24 then, so he'll be coming into his mid-20s, and if he's still Chelsea, or if maybe he got a bigger move again, who knows what he could be doing. He could be sort of like Sancho, you know what I mean? If he went to Germany, he could be loving life out in Germany, scoring goals left, right and centre, creating assists. but it remains to be seen. He needs to prove himself for me. So that's why he's
I agree, because if you go onto YouTube and you type in Chelsea's first team training, recently they did like a 1v1 exercise, and I mean his feet were just phenomenally fast, and just the tricks and the movement and then the end product to go along with it, class. So yeah, I would agree with Hudson-Odoi, like, definitely.
Yeah, so would I. Remember the whole that big thing, with Bayern coming in for them, but I don't think that they'll do that now because they've got Sané and the ball's got Gnabry there as well. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I'd expected Hudson-Odoi to come into the Chelsea team this season and remain there, for the majority of the season and play the most minutes. But he hasn't for some reason. But I think he will get a lot better. And I don't think there's actually anyone really who could sort of go in there at left wing. You could change Sancho and Sterling about as well. But I think Hudson-Odoi is definitely the understudy, the Rashford on the left, I think.
But then again, we have to remember that there's 4 wingers that could play either side. So it really doesn't matter left or right. They can play as wide players, and there's some incredibly good talent there to play on either side.
And there's plenty of players who can play along that front three who haven't been mentioned.
Yeah, I know. So if we go with Rashford 1, Callum Hudson-Odoi 2 for the left wing, and obviously we've said Greenwood up front for our main striker. Who is our secondary striker then for the England team in the next 5 years and beyond?
I've got Harry Kane down on the bench. He'll be 31 by then. I don't know if he'll still be firing all cylinders by that age, so that's why I put him down to the bench. I think England have always had really good strikers, so I think Greenwood with his pace and stuff like that, developing a lot over the next 5 years, I would imagine. I think he goes in that position, and then Kane could be like an impact player, like what Germany had in Klose whenever he was playing. I think he'll become that sort of role, coming off the bench when they need a goal and someone with experience, especially being a captain too right now. I think he'll slot down to the bench just because, he's a wee bit slower maybe at that time.
Yeah, I would actually, to be honest, I would disagree. I think Harry Kane right now is an unbelievable striker, but in 5 years' time, again, like I've said, mine's quite a youthful squad, but I don't see a place for him. If the other ones live up to who they are, and the likes of, like Greenwood and your Tammy Abrahams and your boy from Arsenal. I don't even know how to say his name, so I'll not even say it again. But at least someone, if they live up to their expectations, I don't think Harry Kane has a place in the squad, especially at the age. Because if you look at it, Greenwood will be 23, Abraham will be 27, and your man Eddie, whatever his name is, will be 26. So like if they're living up to their expectations, I can't see Kane having a place. So for me, it's Tammy Abraham if he gets a chance at Chelsea, or else he gets a move away from Chelsea if Werner takes his place.
Well, I would say, I think Lee, really good shout upon Harry Kane. I think if he's only going to be 31, he could definitely be an impact player, like you said, squad player, a little bit of leadership for the younger players around there. My fear for Tammy Abraham is, again, like we've discussed in the podcast, is Chelsea and their transfers and the money they'll throw to gain success again. I think this year Frank Lampard's done an amazing job with the youth that he's had to play because of the transfer ban. Now all of a sudden transfer ban's gone. They're flying, Timo Werner in. They've got the guy from Ajax, Ziyech. They've got him in as well. How much are they going to spend to gain success, and how much will this affect Tammy Abraham and Mason Mount and Reece James and Tomori, all these young English players at Chelsea? So I could easily flip a coin and pick Tammy Abraham or Kane, because Kane's been there and done it. Tammy Abraham has done it to a certain extent, but how long is he going to be allowed to do it is my question.
Yeah. Well, I actually have Tammy Abraham on the bench as well. But I think Harry Kane will be the second choice striker to come on if you need a goal. Tammy Abraham is doing really good things, and as you said there, Chris, Werner coming in, I discussed it earlier. It's just if he's at any other club, I mean, I think he's got a really good chance of still being that impact player off the bench ahead of Kane. But just because he's at Chelsea and they have a reputation of buying players in and not letting youth develop, I think that's why I've made my decision to put Kane ahead of him in the pecking order.
Who are we going to agree on? Like Kane or Abraham?
I'm going Kane just for the impact he could potentially have coming off. As I said, they're like that Miroslav Klose for Germany. I think he scored, is it the most goals in World Cup tournament?
Yeah.
Or second close or something like that. He's definitely up there. I think it's 16 goals, but I think he'll definitely have that. Yeah, he'll have that impact, I think, of what he had for England.
For me, there's no doubt. I think it's Tammy Abraham. Like I've already said my reasoning, but again, Chris, you're the final decision for this.
You see, in my head as well, I'm going now. Greenwood could play out wide, like we've discussed. If he plays out wide, it's Kane or Abraham. The play up front. It's one of those weird ones. I just don't know. I think in my head, if I was England manager, 5 years time, having to start in 11, Kane would be the one I would pick. And if I had to pick between Kane and Abraham, because being there, done it, and then the leadership qualities that he's had, so I would say Kane as the number 2 for our.
Also, Kane could have 100 caps by then as well.
Yeah.
So the team is very young. So as I said, there's I think there's 3 players I have there that are 30 or over. So I mean, I think there's definitely room. Sorry, 2 players. So I think there's definitely room for another over 30, type leader guy to go in there and, as you say, bring the youngsters along.
Sometimes though, you just need a fresh ball. You look at what Everton had, what England had years ago when they had, like your Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, all them, Terry, Ferdinand, all playing, and they sort of got like and brought in sort of some under their talent. So could they do that again potentially? Do they need experience? By that time, a lot of these players could have experience in the league and playing in Europe, in like sort of the Champions League and stuff. Is that much difference to playing internationally? It probably is, but it's still experience at the end of the day. And will they need the likes of Kane or Sterling? I don't know. We'll have to see how these live up to the expectations.
It remains to be seen. I mean, because you've got your Sancho there. He's 19. 5 years time, there could be another guy like him coming through. Who's just as young, and we haven't heard anything about them yet because they're only teenagers. So I mean, there could be other people coming through definitely in 5 years' time that are, similar sort of stature to, Jadon Sancho.
Definitely.
So just to agree, Greenwood 1, Kane 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Super.
We've decided on 2 future England 11 teams. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and on our social media pages. Head over to our Instagram story to voice your opinion on which team you think is the best. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and I hope to speak to you very soon. Goodbye.